Saturday afternoon, September 9th, 2017. And our camera is the former Dewey Tavern, the home of Louis and Rita Bedard in Champlain. We're located across from Northeastern Clinton Central School in the town of Champlain Community Park. That was donated to the town of Champlain in memory of Bob Ben. We're here because it's important that the people in the Northern Tier not forget the part they played, or at least our township played, in the Battle of Plattsburgh events. Around about August 28th, the first scouts were reported coming into the area around the village of Champlain. And their number grew as more and more troops came down from Canada, coming down the Odelton Road and crossing the border here near Lacole. And they all gathered around here, 14,000 strong, between the British and their allies, including Native Americans and Canadian voltigeurs. In the early part of September, they began their march toward Plattsburgh. And around about that same time, the fleet came down Lake Champlain. That fleet was defeated by McDonough at Plattsburgh. The ground troops had several skirmishes, but they were for the most part victorious. But when the battle on Lake Champlain was lost, the troops knew that their efforts would go for naught, so they headed back north. They camped here until September 25th of 1814. We're about to put up a British flag on this flagpole that sits here in the park. Flagpole donated by the Woodmen of the World, now called Woodman Life, several years ago. We fly this British flag here as a reminder of how things stood here in April 14. Although the War for Independence was long over, the British had invaded, and at this point in time, that British flag would have flown here as they took over this particular area. So it was occupied from roughly August 28th to September 25th in 1814, and it's important that we remember the heritage. On or about the 25th, I will return and replace this with a 15-stripe Star-Spangled Banner, which represented the colony, the American nation at that time, a former British colony. The Star-Spangled Banner that Francis Scott Key wrote about. That will take place here on or about September 25th when we return to. But in the meantime, for the next 2 weeks, this British flag will fly here. This flagpole sits on ground where British troops are buried. They nursed their troops at the Dewey Tavern following the Battle of Plattsburgh. The ones who passed away at this location were buried here in the Dewey family cemetery. So this will conclude our September 9th, 2017 look at this historic site, Dewey Tavern, Dewey Family Cemetery in the town of Champlain, as it pertains to the War of 1812 and the 1814 battle on Lake Champlain and the battle in Plattsburgh.